Mr. Luxton.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I picked up on the comment you made saying we supply blood products to meet demand. The demand's increasing 10% annually. New Zealand Blood and Organ Service is planning to continue to source 85% plus of plasma domestically. But it sounds like what you've said is there is still an option to get it from overseas if needed. The overseas markets, which are actually got it in surplus to supply, compensate donors. New Zealand doesn't. You've made a comment about this gold standard, but then you've also made a comment about we test all these organic, all these human compounds. And so on one hand, I'm hearing we make sure it's safe by testing. And on the other hand, you're saying, well, because it's donated, it's somehow better. Could you square that for me?
I don't, if I may, there's quite a lot in there, and I've heard a number of these issues raised before. I think the quality of our plasma is better. It's not safer. Wherever we would import our plasma products from would have extremely stringent testing regimes, so I've got no concerns about that. I do personally believe, and I think most blood services around the world would believe, the World Health Organization gold standard is for voluntary, non-remunerated blood. Once you start paying people, you end up with some really interesting ethical issues arising. We already do import commercial product. We started importing it at about a 15% of our total use about 10 years ago. And the reason we did that is we weren't keeping pace with demand. At the moment, we can get it. But you say there's a surplus on the open market. That's not quite accurate.
Not the open market. I said there's a surplus in markets which supply compensation. So the countries in the world that have compensation have got more than they need, and those are the exporting countries.
And therefore, at the moment, they're able to export it. 70% of the world's plasma comes from the United States. And I would say the bulk of that plasma comes from the southern states bordering Mexico. If borders tighten, which they will under whoever would have won the election, borders will tighten. That will really constrict the flow of people across the border. We know a lot of people cross the border to donate because they get paid and it's what puts food on the table for their families. And here we allow people to donate plasma no more than every 2 weeks. And we consider that a safe interval. In some of the collection centres, people will donate twice a week. So at the moment, and I say, and that's probably what keeps food on the table. We strongly suspect, and we've been given this message by CSL, who are one of the commercial plasma providers as well as our fractionator, that this stuff's going to get harder and harder to get. We believe that a country with small purchasing power, we're purchasing for 5.5 million people at the end of the supply chain, we're not first in the queue for this stuff at all. Now, we work really closely with CSL, have done for 50 odd years. We have a good relationship, and at the moment, we're able to get what we need. The situation might change. The safest thing for New Zealand to do is to be as self-reliant as possible. We'll never be 100% self-sufficient.
And so the supplementary thing, Chair. So are you making, your long-term approach to managing New Zealand's blood supply, how much influence do you have into the development of policy, like up to the Ministry of Health? Like, are you making your concerns known and any potential solutions? And is one of those solutions to explore compensation for blood and blood products, plasma products in New Zealand, for New Zealand domestic supply?
That's not one of the conversations we're having, but we understand it has been raised with the Minister, and the Minister has not shown any interest in that with us.
Is your analysis, sorry, the question was, do you think that that would increase the supply, and is that something that you would be able to deal with?
We don't believe it would increase the supply. No. The focus groups that we have, and when we ask our donors and people who are not donors but we would like to become donors, payment is not on the list.